Hello, everyone. Have you noticed the level of tension in the air? Not just tension, but distortion and anger and negative emotion and stress. And there's people are on edge. And anything you say on social media or otherwise can, even by texting, can get really blown out of proportion. People are getting triggered left and right and center and everywhere. What does it mean to be triggered? To be triggered is when you have an intense negative emotional and or physical reaction to what somebody does because it reminds you of a past trauma. It brings up a very deep wound. So somebody says one thing and you go from 0 to 100 in less than a minute because somebody says one little thing that reminds you of what your father did when you were 5 years old. But if you don't make that connection, then you end up having this intense outburst. And I even experienced it recently in some recent exchanges. And I think it's so interesting because it's an opportunity when we get triggered. We're not going to be happy with what everybody says and does, but I think it's an opportunity for spiritual growth. So I'm just going to walk you through very briefly what to do when you're triggered. Because what happens is if we're triggered and we act out of our reaction, then we create more distortion and fighting and violent exchange with other people. It's unnecessary. It just adds to more chaos and destructive communication at times. I think it's important to speak your truth. I think it's very important when there is misuse of power or any kind of abuse, very overt toxicity, to be strong and clear about that. But also when we're communicating our own feelings and our boundaries, that there's a way to communicate so that we can be better received, that we can consider this. So the first thing, if you get really triggered, is to know that you're triggered and to just be with it for even a few moments and just say, I feel, really intense emotion. I feel this anger, and connect to it. Let yourself connect to it. Because when we deny it, or if we make it wrong, if we try to push it away, it just kind of festers like an old scabby wound. We want to acknowledge what we feel, because what you feel is valid. You don't need a reason to feel what you feel. Our feelings are our feelings. They happen, for many, we don't know why our feelings emerge the way that they do. But the key is to let yourself feel and use that as an opportunity to self-reflect. So instead of instantly reacting, instantly sending that negative text or email or comment, just take some breaths and sit with it. Say, I'm just going to give myself 5 minutes with this, or I'm going to give myself today to be with it. And what happens when you wait is that the energy starts to spill out. And I also feel that it allows time for awareness of the other. So the other person, when you don't react right away, it gives also a chance for them to receive that experience of what they just did, perhaps. So you're kind of creating a spaciousness that's there instead of going back and forth this way, and the energy doesn't move. It just goes horizontally back and forth. It stays in a very low energy. And what we're doing with communication or development is we're finding a way to move the energy up, to hopefully resolve the energy within ourselves, and then find a way to bring it to a higher place. And in a sense, I feel for myself committing to a higher way or a higher approach to these negative feelings or dysfunction or hateful commentary. So take time with it and reflect. And then when you go to express yourself and you go to share what your truth is in that experience, if somebody has hurt you or said something out of context, then think about what you're saying. And I know that there is this quote out there: is it kind? Is it true? Is it helpful? I think those are the three things. But just to have a guideline for when I go to express this, to really put yourself in the other person's shoes and see if they are going to be receptive at all to what you're going to say. Because the language and the words that you use back, you can either attack them back or you can communicate in a way that's centered and honest, where the other person might be able to hear just a little bit of what you're really trying to say there. Maybe all of it, who knows? But I think that when you're ready to express yourself, that you keep in mind the other person and just see if what you're saying is helpful, if it's loving, if it's compassionate. And I just want to close by sharing with you that we just had our community sit that we're doing on Tuesdays in October. I want to say that here's the benefit from meditating in a group, is that when you're by yourself and you're practicing by yourself, it's one thing to practice by yourself, but connecting to the energy of compassion and connecting to higher energies and really being there for a sustained period of time, that can help tremendously through community and group meditation, because you're all focused on that vibration at the same time. So for me, every time I sit in a group, it gives me the energy of compassion much more strongly than if I were to sit by myself. And I would say that's the real benefit, is that connects me to those states of being more intimately. And that's a tremendous benefit to a group meditation experience. So that's the other tidbit. I just send you lots of love, everyone, and peace. We need this peace, and also a sense of spaciousness, that real sense of spaciousness, that we can be open, we can allow for all these other perspectives and realities to exist without making them wrong or shutting them down completely, but by actually having a real conversation. And I think those conversations one-to-one are important. You know, I am commenting on some of my friends' posts who have very different viewpoints. These are people that support the current president and his beliefs and his belief systems, and I'm wanting to have a conversation with them. And I think that it is the one-on-one conversations with the people we perceive as our enemy or our oppressor, as the bully, the perpetrator, whatever you want to call that energy, that's where the healing opportunity is. So be willing to have those hard conversations if you're willing to go there, because I think what we're looking for today is systematic change. Systematic change means going into those places of darkness and density and exchanging, intermingling, connecting. When we segregate and we separate and we cut people out, it's not really that healing. We can have boundaries, but when we do it that way, there's no conversation to be had. So it just upholds that sense of separation. So those are just some words, some thoughts I wanted to share with you. And we look forward to continue to share with you. Come on Tuesdays if you like for this month. We'd love to host you. It was beautiful meditation today. Lots of love. Bye.